Hey, I'm Das. I don't make YouTube videos because I'm usually too busy live streaming myself out chasing rockets or yelling at satellites or playing Kerbal Space Program, right? But I do like Christmas lights, and I like fixing stuff. So recently we're going to put up our Christmas lights, right? And you go and you get them out of the box and you plug them in and they don't work because last year you took them down and the dog tripped over them and you threw them in the box because you're just done with everything. And then you put them in the garage, you don't think about them. You got to get them out this year and they're not working anymore, right? So you go to the store and you're looking, all right, we'll buy some new Christmas lights. Well, nobody wants to spend $200 on new Christmas lights every year because you got other things to spend your money on the holidays, right? This year it's like teal llama-related items for my daughter. So walking around, we were trying to find the Christmas lights and we see this new thing, this Lightkeeper Pro. I say new thing, I don't think it's new, it's been around for a while. But it claims that it can fix your Christmas lights. Right? And so we pick one up. Heck, what do you have to lose? The Lightkeeper Pro is conveniently priced about the same amount as a new strand of Christmas lights. So you buy the Lightkeeper. If it fixes it, good. If it doesn't fix it, I got the receipt. I'll take it back, right? Well, here are our experiences using this Lightkeeper Pro to try to repair our Christmas lights. Now, I apologize for the potato quality. This was just on a whim. It's like, oh, whip out the phone. Let's just record this right quick and see if it works. So here we go. Oh, great. Let's decorate the house for Christmas. This should be fun, right? Grab one of the lights and plug it in real quick. Hang on a second. You need to plug it in. Oh, that's fantastic. The lights don't light up. Luckily, we were at the store earlier, and we grabbed this handy-dandy thing. It's a warning saying not to throw away the instructions. I mean, there's literally a note that comes with the Lightkeeper from the company president who basically says it's your fault if you don't get this thing to work because it's complicated. So I followed that and I didn't actually throw away the instructions. I did open up the instructions though, and who are we kidding? Nobody's gonna read this, right? I kinda read it, but we're trying to use this thing, this Lightkeeper Pro, to repair our strand of Christmas lights so we can see if they're gonna work or not, right? There you go. You can see we've got a part of the section here that does not work, and we have a part that does work. We're playing in hard mode though, because this is like icicle lights. It's not just one little strand of lights, and we're gonna see if we can use this magical device to fix these lights. Recording?
Yes.
Okay. So the instructions that you didn't actually read, because when you open them up, there's like 80 million. So the instructions that you almost throw away and you certainly didn't read, because when you open them up, it's like 80 books of War and Peace on how to fix Christmas lights. Don't worry, the bottom part's in Spanish. Se habla español, right? You just need to read the top part. You don't need to read any of it. It told me that it wanted me to take the lights and plug them into this little thing while they're plugged into the wall. Of course, you gotta be really careful. This thing is plugged into the wall right now. Well, and what it's telling me to do is unplug a light, being very careful, right? Adult supervision required, or just don't even do this for your kid. Right? You plug the thing out, and then you plug it into this thing, being very careful not to electrocute and or cook anything. All right. And it says to pull the trigger. This is why I said this is some sort of witchcraft. Let's see if this actually does anything, right? It says 30 times to pull the trigger. All right, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it plugged in? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What the heck? It worked. Honey, they came on. Well, thank you, Lightkeeper Pro. It actually came on. I was expecting to pull it 30 times and it not to work. That's amazing.
Yay!
Well, wait, let's take this back out. Okay, it went off, that's to be expected, and put it back in. Okay.
Yippee!
All right, so for real, I didn't think that was gonna work. I thought we were gonna pull this thing and we would be like, and it didn't work, so we have to do this. But apparently it worked, and we're mystified. But now that the lights are on, you can actually see that some of them are burnt out. All right, let's see if we can find some that are, don't act like you don't see one. There you go, yeah, there's one right there, right? There's another one, yeah. So we're gonna go through and try to replace these with other lights. Now, you could try to dig through this bag that's been in your box of Christmas lights for 20 years that you never go through, because they're all the ones that make it blink, right? Or you could cannibalize another strand. You can see this was one that was all busted, and we had so many busted lights, we just started to take lights out of this old strand. Now,
like
the other, yeah, there you go, just taking them out, right? Just pulling them, it's just pulling them right out of the strand. Yeah, good job. The other cool thing about this wacky little device is that it's got a bulb tester in the top. You see that little prong pincher thing? Point at it right there. Yeah, there you go. It literally says bulb tester. right there. So what we did is we have some of the lights that we took off the strand here, and we're going to try to test them. This is probably the most useful feature here. That one did. That one didn't come on.
Dead.
All right. Put it in a pile. Wait, don't just put it like separate. There you go.
That
Aha!
works.
That one's good. Someone goes in the good pile. Excellent.
Works.
All right, excellent. I'm dead serious. Like, the little Lightkeeper Pro could just be the Light Tester Pro, and it would be worth its weight. Just because we could take those old lights off the old strand and separate them into piles, showing whether or not they worked, just by... Oh, you got it?
Yep.
Almost that one. Put it in the bad pile.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
no,
nope, it's good. All right.
works.
Yeah, so what happens sometimes, check this out. You can see on the bottom of these, they've got these two little wires, right? And if one of the wires gets bent out of shape, see, look, I just did that. I bent that out of shape. Or if the wire's missing completely, it won't test correctly. The light might not be lighting up simply because those wires are incorrect. So you can, I mean, if you got time on your hands, you could, autofocus, you can actually look at these little wires and try to line them up straight. So we're going to go down all the rest of the strand here, and we're going to replace all the lights that are burnt out, because whatever witchcraft happened when we pulled this trigger and it magically made the lights come back on, I don't know that I trust it, so I'm still going to go ahead and replace the burnt out lights, because there are quite a few in there. Still working on the lights. Clearly these still aren't lighting up, and I'm going to try. There's no way that this whole plug it in and pull the trigger thing is going to work twice in a row, right? So I'm going to unplug one of the lights from here. Like that. Be careful when you do that, because it's supposed to be plugged into the wall, like legit supposed to be plugged into the wall. And then I'm going to plug this tool with the little thing on the bottom there into this socket, right, like this, and it's oriented like that. We'll plug it all the way in. Now, what are the chances this is going to work twice? It said to pull it 30 times and see if it lights it up. So I'm going to pull it. 1, 2.
Really? You did all that work for nothing?
That's insane. Look, the thing cost us like $22 at insert name of hardware store or whatever. And we were about to throw all these lights out. We had what, 5 or 6 or 7 strands of these lights?
7 strands.
We had 7 strands of the lights, and we were just about to throw them out, but we saw this thing on the shelf, and we picked up this Lightkeeper Pro tool, and literally you plug it in, and you pull the trigger a couple times, and then our lights are magically working again. Of course, these are incandescents, they're not LEDs. It says that on the tool, right? It says incandescents. There's a different one for LEDs. And I don't know if you might run into a situation where that doesn't work, but honestly, if you pick up one of these things and it fixes one of your $20 strands of lights, seems like it's worth it. We're gonna go through again and we're gonna replace all of the lights that are burnt out, because this thing has magically... It's like some Hogwarts level nonsense where it pulls light out of a lamppost and then puts it into your Christmas lights or something. Aha, you thought you were going to get away with this without this being educational or something. I really like to learn new things, right? And so I wanted to figure out how this device works. I looked it up online in order to understand what's going on, the magic that is this Lightkeeper Pro and how it makes your lights actually start working again. You got to understand why the Christmas lights stop working in the first place and what actually makes them come back on whenever you attach the Lightkeeper Pro. So check this out. I don't have any fancy graphics or anything like this. We're just going to have to John Madden it on the fly. But look, right? Imagine a Christmas light, right? This is a Christmas light. Okay, and on the bottom of the Christmas light, you have like the little base, and if you're old like me, it had the little twirly things and whatever. Those used to pop, right? But inside the Christmas light, you got the little filament. So if you look in there, you got a little bit of wire, and there's a little curly Q thing going across the top of it like that, right? And you plug this thing into power, you got power going this way, you got power going that way, and it ends up in your wall, and electrons flow, and the light lights up, right? Because what's happening inside the light is electricity comes in one end, and it goes up this, and it goes across the little filament thing there, and that filament glows when the electricity is going through it. It makes some heat as well, if you sort of put your finger on it. And then it comes down this, and it keeps going, right? So when a light burns out, the filament fails, and what happens is just psh, the thing goes away. It no longer creates a connection, and so the electricity stops flowing. And the problem with that is, when you have your Christmas lights, there's lots of light bulbs. We're just going to draw all these in series like this, all right? You have a lot of light bulbs that are connected in series, which just means you got one light bulb, and it sends electricity to the next light bulb, and it sends electricity to the next light bulb, on and on and on, right? Well, what happens when one of these filaments burns out is the electricity stops. all of a sudden it hits a brick wall and the electricity can't flow through the rest of them. So you get one little light that burns out and your entire chain of lights stops going. And sometimes there's some trickery they do where there's multiple sets where it's like in series and in parallel at the same time. At the end of the day, one light burns out and all of a sudden you got a big chunk of your strand that doesn't work. Well, in their infinite or slightly, I guess, finite wisdom, what the light bulb manufacturers do is, let's go back to our light bulb, right? I'm going to have to draw it again because I erased it. And we have the base on it or whatever. We have the little bottom part, little screwing bits there. And we have our filament, right? So in the bulb, they have the filament that goes across, and you got your wires going out again. But what they've also done is they've installed something in the bulb called a shunt. And the shunt is something that normally doesn't let electricity flow. But when the light burns out, the shunt activates and lets light sort of bypass the lighty bit and keep flowing to the rest of the lights in the chain. And the shunt's just going to be a little bit of wire down here, right? Normally, let's draw this correctly actually, normally there's a little bit of insulation here. And so there's wire that goes between down there, and that insulation keeps the electricity from short-circuiting, going like that, and instead it goes up through the top and it creates the bright bit that you see at the top of the bulb, right? Well, when your light burns out, what's supposed to happen is that burning out light is supposed to melt this insulation and complete the lower circuit or whatever, right? And so then, even though your light is not putting off light, all the majesty, right? You still have electricity flowing through the shunt and the bulb is still plugged in and the rest of the strand is supposed to light up. Now, what happens with your lights is sometimes the shunt doesn't activate correctly. So whenever the light burns out, this part goes away, boop, but the energy of that burning out, of the heat, whatever you want to call it, isn't enough to actually get rid of the insulation down here. And so since there's still insulation, you're not getting an electric current going through the bottom of the bulb. So what does the Lightkeeper Pro do to fix that? It's literally just shocking your light bulb, trying to melt the little shunt insulation in there. And it uses a Piezo? How do you pronounce that again? Piezo? Piezo? It's one of those words, all right? All right, hang on.
Piezoelectricity.
Thank you. Piezoelectricity. It uses basically a crystal that you slap around, and when you slap around the crystal, you get an electric current that comes out of it. A lot of devices use this, like this little lighter thing, right? You do the magic with this, you pull the trigger, and it actually lights, right? Well, the little click you hear is basically your little lighter thing slapping a crystal around to get an electric charge. Lightkeeper Pro's doing the same thing. When you pull the trigger, what you're doing is you're getting a little electric charge. If you look into here, you can actually see a little spark in the place where you're supposed to plug it in. And that electric charge is supposed to be designed to activate the shunt or melt the insulation around the shunt to allow electricity to go through. So what you see when you plug this thing into the strand and you click, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it worked. We didn't just waste $22 or whatever it is. You're seeing the little
Piezoelectricity.
Anyways, the little electric crystal getting slapped around, sending a surge of electricity through the light strand and melting that insulation. And it works for multiple bulbs, right? If you have multiple bulbs that are burnt out and you have multiple bulbs where the shunts are no good, if you pull this thing enough time, you can eventually get a couple different bulbs to melt and create and start working correctly, right? So I had to look that up. I mean, it's clearly any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. We sit there and we say, wow, that's amazing. It's witchcraft that this thing works. Actually, no, it's science that this thing works. It's literally just using a crystal. You squeeze the crystal, you get some electric charge out of it. That electric charge goes through the light. It melts some insulation that's there. It completes the circuit by activating that shunt, and then all of a sudden you have a strand of lights that has 15 burnt out lights in it, but at least it's on because now you can see which lights are burnt out, making it easy for you to pull the light out and put it back in again, right? Save you some money too, so you don't have to go and buy new lights every single year. All right, so quick wrap-up stats for nerds. I had 6 of these, and they were each 300 lights each, right? They were all like half not working with a bunch of strands not turned out. And so after we used the little Lightkeeper Pro thing to fix them, we ended up with 1 completely cannibalized set, and now we have 5 times 300 each working sets of lights. I replaced almost 250 dead bulbs. These are all the ones that we took out that were dead, and I ended up with somewhere south of 50 because we cannibalized all those and they weren't all right. But with our little $20, $25 tool, instead of having to buy all these sets over again, we just fixed them, and we're going to toss that one, and we have a couple of replacement bulbs. Not too shabby. So anyways, this is the end of the video where I'm supposed to be too proud to mention that I put a link to pick up one of these Lightkeeper Pros down in the description. If you want to support our educational outreach, the other stuff we do, our virtual field trips and stuff, you're going to get one of them. Grab it off Amazon or whatever. The link's down there. It's embarrassing. And then hang these on the houses, which we're not going to make a video for because that's a good way to fall off a ladder. Hope this helped. It's 2019. It's the Lightkeeper Pro thing, and seems like it was a legitimate strategy there. So y'all take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Now, all right, the other thing about this is I completely forgot what I was going to say. I don't think that it even matters, though. I hope you enjoyed my drawings. They're quite nice. Mic check. All right, just don't say what's up. Whatever you do, don't say what's up. That's fine. That's all you have to do. Just don't say what's up.